We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing this. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with you with another new part of What If Will Was Clive Rossfield's Reincarnation. This is part 5, and yes, I'm bringing back another part of, well, Ifrit Will, mainly because, well, if you guys know, tomorrow is the death battle between Dante versus Clive, and of course, I decided to go with that of, well, Will instead of Izuku. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about that of, well, Ifrit Deku after all. Probably expected next week or the week after all. So with that out of the way, let's go with that of the recap. In the last part, Will saw a commission request from that of Alfiria, wanting to help out his childhood friend / love. He decides to ascend down to the dungeon where he sees many of his other classmates plan on wanting to tuck on that of the commission as well. However, Will ends up helping that of a student by the name of Iris Churchill. However, turns out Iris has a thing for that of Elfie as well, or I should say pretending to at least, mainly because she is a watcher, a recruiter for that of the tower to see who has potential to become another Magia Vander in the future. And being down the dungeon, she noticed Will with his ability to use Ifrit's powers and fire magic through a sword, artifices, and even skilled on taking down monsters in the dungeon. She can't help but also respect him as somebody who works hard and trains hard, developing new ways to use magic without having to basically conjure spells from spell circles or a wand. And because of this, she now has something to tell the 5, or rather 4, Magia Vanders. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? It's been a few days since that of the request that Elfie basically made, as currently Iris Churchill is in that of the headmaster's office, meeting with that of headmistress Cauldron, with looking outside as Cauldron looks over that of multiple school papers and notes, especially about that of for the next Grand Festival Games, since it's coming up pretty closely after all. Within, she's saying, so, how'd it go? Within, she's saying, are you asking about that of who I believe has a good potential to be part of the 5 sects, or the meeting with the Magia Vander to convince them to take Will? How about both, actually? As Cauldron basically still working, having multiple papers flying everywhere. Before then, Iris sighing before saying, well, the meeting went like this, as she recommends stats of the meeting with that of the 4 remaining Magia Vanders. The one in charge of that of the fire sect, Cartonus Ignis Wiseman, a young man with that of long red hair with his eyes always closed, and he looks like he has that of a smile on his face. However, it's a disarming smile, though. The one in charge of the Wind Sect, Eleanor Vogan's elf, a young woman who doesn't look any older than the current 7th-generation students, actually, with that of her short green hair and quite serious demeanor. The other being that of Zeus Thunderzeus Reinbold, quite young, seems to be at least one of the oldest, actually, with that of spiky, white hair, wearing a white cloak, and seems so nonchalant. And the last but not least is Elphiria Albus Surfort, the same Elfie, all grown up, with that of long, light blue hair, and seems like she could care less about everything right now. As Wiseman can help but ask, "Oh, care to ask, what candidate do you say, Watcher?" With her still having her head down while kneeling to the ground, saying, a 7th year. His name is Will Surfort. He's a brilliant and tactical mage who knows how to fight against every form of monster in the dungeon. Not to mention, he's also considered to be a talentless fire mage. But compare that with that of his sword, with that of a sword, he's actually quite capable. His control with his fire spells are beyond that of on what any kind of fire mage is capable of doing so now. Within, Wiseman hearing this, saying, "Will Surfort. I've heard that name before." With Eleanor saying, "Never heard of him, but if he has to use a sword though." With Zio all saying, "Kid sounds interesting actually." With Elfie staying quiet, not saying anything. Within, Wiseman spoke up saying, "However, even though you say all these amazing things about him, he uses a sword, not a proper magical techniques. Plus, what I've heard is that he's quite uncouth with that of fire magic. As somebody who has dedicated his life to understanding and perfecting fire spells, I have no interest in such a barbaric wielder of magic." With then, Eleanor spoke up saying, "Neither do I. If the boy has to resort to using weapons like that of a common dwarf, then I have no interest into him." With Zio soon saying, "Kid sounds really interesting, I won't lie. But I'll wait and see what he's more capable of before making my decision." With Elfie staying quiet, once again, saying, "Is this all you decided?" Within, all of them say, "Yes." And since Lord Aaron isn't here, I'm guessing he would make the same decision. With Wiseman still smiling, saying, "So, what else have you brought to us?" Within, she's saying, "Unfortunately, that is all I can say." I see. With a tone of somewhat disappointment, he can say, "Then we are done here." Before then, that of a red spell circle materializes under him before engulfing him in flames. Within, Zio can help but say, "Man, how disappointing. Hey, Elf, you up for a fight? I'm good for a spar or two if you're up for it." With then, Eleanor couldn't help but scoff at that of Zeno's words, saying, "Uncouth oaf, like I want to waste my time with you." Before also creating a spell circle, before engulfing in that of winds. Within, Zeno couldn't help but sigh, saying, "Man, how boring it is being here." Was about to ask Alfiria the same thing, but deciding, not worth it. As he begins to also create a spell circle, as he soon disappears like a lightning bolt. Iris decides to stand up before smiling, saying, "You stay quiet quite long, Lady Alfiria. I'm guessing you wanted to know about that of Will." Within, Elfie opens her eyes, saying, "Could you please show me what he did during the dungeon?" Within, bringing out that of her wand, creating that of a light blue spell circle, as then showing that of Iris's memories to that of Elfie, with Elfie seeing what Will is capable of, taking on that of Ice Rex, using that of Arthurso devices, his flames of Ifrit, and his knowledge of monsters he's already defeated, showing his capabilities, but not caring about any of that, because all she cares about is looking straight at Will, with that of a look of loving, caring eyes, and a smile of longing. Just hang in there, Will. I know it. I know for sure you'll make it up here, and I'll always be waiting, no matter how long it takes. As Iris sees the look on that of Elfie's face, the look on that of the one Magia Vander she truly respects the most, she couldn't help but basically sigh, before then getting out of her memories and recollection towards that of Headmistress Cauldron. Within, she's saying she made that entire commission alone just to help out Will. It also gave me a reason to also show her what he's capable of, and even brought up to that of the other Magia Vander as well. That girl, on the surface, she seems proper and elegant, but in reality, she's basically a love-struck girl that refuses to grow up. I can't help but respect that, you know? With Cauldron saying, true love always overcomes anything, no matter what. Plus, it seems like you also have a great respect for that of Will now. With Iris saying, I wouldn't say great respect just yet. Or, you could say I admire him now. With Cauldron basically looking at that of the blonde-haired watcher, with still her eyes closed and everything, before Iris saying, but no chance in hell I would have to get his heart if I wanted to. Just like her, he's stuck and obsessed with her as well. So, in the meantime, within putting on that of her glasses, before then saying, I guess I just have to do my part as his adorable younger classman that supports him from the shadows. With that, with a same fake smile, but somewhat more endearing than before, than plastic. Within, Cauldron saying, I wish you the best of luck, dearie, as Iris walks out of the headmistress' office, with her finally finishing up her paperwork before starting to drink some tea, before thinking, also though, even though Elfiria is interested in the boy, it seems Will also has at least that of maybe 2 more Magia Vander that has interest in him. Cartone has never been so impassioned about that of one applicant as well, and criticized him so deeply. The only time when he criticizes somebody so well and so ruthlessly is when he thinks they have great potential. Zio is basically the same way, but he only wants somebody that can give him a good, interesting fight. Will has enough credits to basically take on that to graduate, but to ascend the tower, he still needs a few more. Currently now, that of the practical exam classes are taking part, with the 7 years taking on this exam, with that of a few 7 years that we all know and love, with Scion preparing his wand, creating that of a spell circle, as he chants the spell, before then a flaming tornado engulfs that of a golem, as the golem basically looks like that of a metal knight with a glowing overlay finish around it, as it's neon blue, with destroying his golem pretty easily, with Colette landing down to the ground, right leg extended, for then multiple orange spell circles materialize in the air, that's when rocks begin to fall down from them, as she chants her spell, within sending that of a storm of rocks moving so fast that they destroy the golem pretty easily, with the teacher overlooking that of the exam, basically checking them off, saying, well done, you pass, Scion Ulster and Colette Noir, with Scion not even fazed by him passing, with Colette cheering to herself that she made it. As for Will, he's currently dodging that of the golem pretty easily, with that of a flame step here and a flame step there, with him just basically bored out of his mind, as maybe he's thinking of switching to that of Titan and basically blocking the attack with that of his gauntlet before slamming that of multiple rock fists in its face, destroying it pretty easily. But of course, he can't show off that of his powers of Ifrit, or as the powers of Mythos after all, and using the other icons' powers, for the time being at least. So basically dodging each attacks, all of the students begins to heckle and basically make fun of Will for not doing anything. As this, it annoys Will a little bit. Before then, Flame steps back from that of the slamming punch. Before then, channeling his flames through that of his body using Ifrit's flames. Before then, screaming ignition as he basically slams into that of the golem, knocking it back onto the ground. Before then, putting his right hand into its face. Before then, engulfing it in flames alongside Will as well. With then, and basically it's melted down to the ground into that of smoldering slag. With Will basically looking back at all the students with his eyes shattered by his glasses, looking quite menacing in the small pit of flames, leaving many of the students completely and utterly, well, terrified and not talking crap anymore. However, they're still somewhat talking bad about him, saying, even so, he can't even chant a spell. Yeah, just because he destroyed it doesn't mean he's good or anything. But then, Will couldn't help but sigh and saying, there's no winning them over unless I show them everything. Arrogant bastards. With the proctor saying, Will Surfort, you've passed, but barely. As Will's current points and that of Red Garden Academy is around that of 7,000. Like I said before, he needs that of 7,200 credit points to get into that of the college level. He might already have enough points to graduate already, but those extra points that he needs to graduate is going to be easier said than done, as the many other practicants for that of this test as well show off what they're capable of. That being Wignall Elfin, which has that of long green hair and is actually an elf, sending that of a powerful wind spell, engulfing that of the golem, bringing it up to the air before engulfing it into a wind tornado, destroying it entirely. As for that of the other, Liana Odenden, as she basically stuns the golem for a bit with a lightning spell, before a yellow spell circle at the tip of her wand basically creates that of a long lightning bolt from it. At the same time, that lightning bolt materializes multiple arrows as these lightning arrows strike down onto that of her golem target, destroying it entirely, passing the test as well. Another, as this young man with that of light blue hair, a smug face, and with that of a blue rose on his, student uniform, as he creates, as with that of a small light blue spell circle in his wand, he soon creates that of multiple ice shards, flowing them around in front of him before then sending them flying towards that of his golem, but not just his, but also every other golem in that of the test area. However, these shards soon sprout out that of ice flowers before he says shatter, as then they begin to engulf the entirety of the golems, destroying them as a whole, completely eradicating them, with many students annoyed at the fact that their golems have been destroyed, basically making them automatically fail. With the proctor saying, Julius Reinhardt, pass, as Elena, Wignall, and Julius are considered the big three of the current 7 years, as their points basically range from the, 10,000, already calling them for graduation and a full-on ride to go to that of the college level, where they be trained by the Magia Vanders themselves. As the three basically declare war on each other. Well, mainly Julius declaring war on Elisa and that of Wignall, where the two accept his challenge as well for that of the Grand Festival, with many students commenting about that of the three best students as Leanna is considered Little Miss Perfect, given that she is the top-ranking student within the entire school after all. Wignall, basically the Wonder Elf, given that he's in second place, but because he's also nonchalant serious about everything. And then you have that of Julius, the Ice Master, basically perfect at that of Ice Mage magic. However, you could say that Scion could have been part of them as the big four if he only had that of 9,000 credits, almost close to that of 10,000. As of course, this hurts that of the Fire Mage's ego, with Will basically leaning on that of a pillar, already finished with that of his task as well, thinking to himself, is this what it's like to have that of a fan club? Honestly, I do not envy them at all. With Kiki by his side, basically wondering about that of her familiar master, within looking at that of Kiki, saying, don't get me wrong, Kiki, those three have earned their spots to be at the top. Their skills and talent alone basically proves it. However, they already have a full ride scholarship to reach that of the top. Well, as am I may already have the credits to basically graduate, but I'm still far off from reaching the credits I need to reach that of the tower. Luckily, I've already reached that of 7,000 thanks to all the other tasks I've done, and because of Headmistress Cauldron. Because of this, I should be able to make it even further, but given that we're getting closer and closer to the end of the year, and finals are almost around the corner, 3 months from now, which means I need to show off more on what I'm capable of. Which means thinking about that at the Grand Festival before saying, like hell, I'll do that again. Not a chance in hell. With then somebody saying, care to move it, you laggard. With then looking to the side saying, there's a lot of room to go around, Julius. Last time I checked, I'm not even in your way. With that of his two lackeys saying, hey, you said it, Sir Fort, not us. With then one saying, just because you passed the exam by the skin of your teeth doesn't mean anything. You're still basically below everybody here. Yeah, you barbaric fire mage. With Julius saying, just be lucky you're even able to pass. Don't even waste time trying to even ascend the tower. Within, soon, Will couldn't help but basically scoff, saying, sure, but that doesn't mean you get the right to decide my own choices and fate. Regnant. Within, Julius couldn't help but basically sneer, alongside Will giving him that of a death glare, as they all go their separate ways, with Kiki hissing, and soon Colette walking over saying, seriously, Will, what's your problem getting involved with that of people, jerks like Julius and Scion? But then hearing that, Will couldn't help but sigh, saying, beats me. It looks like I'm just a trouble magnet after all for people like them. With the exam finally coming to the end, and currently, it's now for that of the students to have their break, with Will and Colette currently eating lunch. Within, Colette saying, I mean, you passed, but now you definitely need to get a one last chance. Take the Grand Magic Festival is coming up, Will. Within, Will blinking multiple times saying, okay, that came out of nowhere. Within, Colette saying, I'm serious, Will. Sure, you have enough credits to basically graduate. You've already reached that of the, turning point to reach that of enough credits to get to that of, to the college level. But within, Will saying, but the year is basically reaching its end and I barely have enough credit and there's barely enough classes. Not even intermediate classes are enough to get higher. Within, also remember that of, Headmistress Cauldron's words, saying, as she said right at a few days ago, when he last went down to the dungeon. I've done all I can to get you as far as you have, Will. You've already reached the turning point of getting enough credits to graduate, and you're already on the turning point of reaching that of the college level. With Will hearing this saying, that's great! then that means I just need that of 200 points, right? With her saying, yes, but it's easier said than done, Will. Your highest scores are mainly in that of note-taking and practice exams. And you've already started getting higher and higher in that of practical fundamentals. Add that with me giving you extra points after seeing what you're capable of in a dungeon with that of your powers. But right now, it's about time that you show off what you're truly capable of. With then hearing that saying, you mean show off my powers, my icon abilities, right? With her nodding, saying, yes, Will. You are aware of what happened to me about that of 2 years ago. The last time I took part in the Grand Magic Festival. With then Miss Cauldron still smiling, saying, that's because you were still holding back. You were showing off what you're capable of with your fire magic. If you show off everything that you're capable of, every form, every facet, the fact that you were able to use multiple forms of magic outside of just fire magic says it all. With mainly people are born with that of one form of magic, only able to branch out to other forms of magic, of other elemental magic, mainly when they're only talented and good at one. Within, Will couldn't help but basically laugh a little bit, saying, that says something, especially coming from somebody like you, headmistress. Within, she's saying, I'm the exception. I was originally only good at that of fire magic, before branching out to other forms of magic, because I used the time and effort that I could to do so. Even though you create that of spell circles, but you have the power to manipulate those magics to any way you see fit through your icons. This may be your one chance to finally get fully scouted by that of the tower without needing credits to get by. All I'm saying, Will, I think it's now time to finally stop hiding. With Will looking down, clenching his fist before getting out of the memory, saying, I won't lie, it is tempting to go back into the games, but you knew what happened to me 2 years ago, right? When I tried with, then she's saying, oh, right. Turns out the Grand Magic Games wasn't that very magical, with one student only just using one brand of fire magic without other, forms of magic. And not even using a wand. With Will remembering that of multiple people throwing, concession foods, papers, rocks, and everything else. Hell, he was really even closely basically going full primal and becoming Ifrit on everybody in that arena, but was able to hold back. Hell, he was more surprised that he was able to hold back that of his semi-primal form. With then Colette saying, yeah. With then Will saying, honestly, I have no interest in continue doing this. With then Colette saying, but it doesn't matter if your spell work or crafting skills aren't that good. Even if what everybody did to you about that during your 4th year, you've improved so much. Not to mention, what about your icon powers? As she whispers this to Will, with then Will saying, Colette, let's drop that. I have no interest in showing off what I'm capable of. You know how people are. The more you act differently, the more you're basically persecuted. With then Colette saying, what about now? With then Will basically flinch a bit. Before then Colette realized, oh, Will, I didn't mean I'm saying, no, you're right. You got all the reason to basically say all that. Before then, basically looking up, saying, I'm aware that the 5 sects would be interested in anybody that's, considered talented or unique in their own way. I want to feel like I've earned it with my own strength, with my own abilities. If I use my icon powers into in that of the Grand Magic Festival, did I feel like I earned it? Or do I feel like I basically coast off of powers that I feel like that I should not use in front of others? I know it sounds naive, and I know it sounds quite, immature or even childish, but it just goes against my pride and honor. When everybody else puts it on the line where I can just basically coast off powers, I feel like I don't truly deserve. With him mentally thinking to himself, all because I'm a reincarnation of a man who already died. He was given powers by that of a naive, selfish, and corrupted god. Try to take my body for himself. But then Will saying, I joined the first time all because I felt I stand out on the just wanting to prove myself. I began to stand out for all the wrong reasons. Started being called the barbaric fire mage, the talentless fire mage, the wandless fire mage. I'm basically nothing but a joke to people now. I'll just do what I've always done when the Grand Magic Festival happens. Work behind the scenes, help out when I can, take care of things that may seem problematic as always. With then Colette saying, are you really okay with that, Will? With then saying, doesn't matter if I'm okay with it or not. It's what I'm meant to do. That's all. At least for now. With that, Colette couldn't help but feel a little bit worried for Will, even Kiki as well. However, the somber tone basically faded for a bit as multiple people began to base outside from that of multiple years, from first years, second years, third years, and up and on, continued using that of their magic craft and improving themselves for the Grand Magic Games. From spell crafting, basically manipulating spells and alter them in any way you see fit, or that of guardian summoning, basically creating an elemental creation made from anything from that of, well, animals, creatures, and stuff like that. But Will couldn't help but basically be impressed with everybody giving it their all. With Will and Colette heading to their, well, lockers, with Will grabbing a few of his books, and that of Colette basically just saying, all I'm saying is, put yourself out there, show what you're capable of, and don't be afraid. Even if everybody is a little bit, well, weirded out by that of your abilities, I don't think it's a bad idea. With then, Will saying, thanks for your optimism, Colette. I really do appreciate it. But remember, it's still my decision to choose if I want to or not. I'm not scared of being rejected. I'm mainly scared on how people see me ahead of it. And will I even be able to even go to the tower afterwards? If people see my powers. With Colette soon noticing something behind them, with Will saying, what's the matter? Saying, there's a barrier here. It's well hidden, but I think it's only blocking out sound. With then, Will saying, wait, seriously? A barrier spell that basically blocks out sound? Are you sure it's not just a lock spell? I'm positive. And honestly, it's not even that powerful one. I think I can basically break through it with brute force alone, but I don't think that's a good idea. Wow, that's surprising coming from you, Colette. With then, she blushing saying, what's that supposed to mean? I'm joking. With then, she basically pouting, before then, looking at that of Kiki saying, Kiki, come over here. With Kiki, with the carbuncle basically meowing, with Colette basically bringing up to that of the area where the barrier is. Before then, multiple white spell circles soon turn purple from that of Kiki, using her ability to basically dispel that of the barrier. With then Colette saying, that's my precious little Kikikins. With her basically nuzzling her face into Kiki, with Kiki enjoying it. With Will couldn't help but roll his eyes, but that in playfulness though. As opening up the doors, would soon notice that it's a, well, staircase. As leading down, they soon notice that of multiple people would think it's possibly a secret study location, but nope. It's far worse than that. It's actually a betting pool, with many people basically putting bets on that of those of the big three, and surprisingly even Scion as well. With Will saying, not surprising that there would be a betting pool. With Colette somewhat annoyed at this, saying, seriously, I know the professors like to keep the lockers away in that of the students' hands because they don't want to feel like they're invading their privacy, But still, this is out of control. As they basically walk around that of the, terrace way, listening to everybody placing bets on Julius, Wignall, and Leanne. However, that's when a certain someone is also there with his lackeys, as it being Scion, with Will saying, "Why am I not surprised that you're here?" With then Scion saying, "The damn laggard! Why the hell are you even here, you garbage?" With then Colette bringing her wand out saying, "If you have any hurtful words you want to say to Will, say it to me too, because I won't let you basically get rough with him and treat him so poorly like before. You hear me?" With then, as Scion somewhat annoyed at this, with even Will saying, "So, you came down here to see about the betting pool odds. In case you're wondering, we only found this place by complete and total chance. I have no interest in that of the Grand Magic Games, either in betting pools or other stuff like that." With then, Scion saying, "Figures as much since you are a lag." With then remembering back in the dungeon, what he's capable of, the magic power he's able to unleash, and all that other things as well. With then soon basically scoffing, saying, "Whatever." Within, Scion's lackeys also tried to defend that of Scion, saying, "Yeah, we had no interest in this either. It's not like that Scion was just wondering how much people were betting on him." Or with that of another one of his lackeys saying, "Yeah, it's not like Scion cares that none of the big three actually acknowledge him at all," which hitting more and more into that of his pride as they keep on going and going before Scion having enough of him basically taking more and more of his pride that even Vegeta would feel annoyed, saying, "Shut your mouth or I'll burn both your tongues, you idiots!" With everybody downstairs couldn't help but basically stop listening or yelling before noticing that of Scion and the others. But then Will saying, "Don't mind us, just keep doing what you're doing." With that, everybody just goes back to making bets. With then Colette saying, "Wow, so much rage. Is that because of puberty and your rage and your hormones, Scion?" With Scion getting embarrassed and also annoyed at Colette's teasing. With Scion soon saying, "It doesn't even matter. I'm just as best or even better than them, actually. The only reason I don't have that of 10,000 is mainly due to that of me losing some of my points in that of writing classes. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm easily on the same level as that of Wignall and Leanna. I've trained and practiced far more anyway." But then Colette, not even caring anymore, as she goes straight to that of Kiki, saying, "Wow, really? I didn't notice that." With even Will basically not even say anything either. "So you plan on entering the Grand Magic Festival or not? Because if you don't plan on it, why do you even care? Shouldn't it be considered a waste of your own time?" With then, Scion couldn't help but say, "Like I need to basically explain myself to a worthless laggard like you." With then, as Will basically leaning back, within, Will just basically continues glaring at Scion, with Scion just glancing at him back, as he also tries to hit him with his own glare, but it doesn't even work either. With Scion's lackeys basically running after him to catch up. With Will basically looking back down, can up and say, "A festival that shows up every 2 years. I can understand the hype, but what's the point?" I honestly really do, to be fair. Later on, as class is finally coming to the end, with Colette basically asking Will if he plans on heading down to the dungeon as she wants to tag along to help out, with Will saying, "Oh, appreciate it, Colette. However, I got a shift at Gina's tonight, so I can't." With that, Colette basically slumped down as her one chance to basically go on a date with that of Will basically got shot down, with Kiki trying her best to comfort that of Colette. Later on that night, on that of the slum streets outside of the city, basically where the dwarves residents are, as in that of a tavern, where all the dwarves are basically off shift and working at the mines, go to basically drink their tenseness away, as this is where Will basically works at, working under a dwarf by the name of Gina as a waiter. As Will works here mainly just as before, as I said in the last part, mainly because he has to have that of a full-on tuition as a paper boy and also as a waiter as well, given that he doesn't have a scholarship, or rather, he failed to gain one as his years at Red Garden Academy went on. However, it's not all bad after all. The dwarves are always nice to him, not to mention Rusty decided to, help out tonight with Will while basically sending out dishes and getting that mugs for all of the patrons. That's when Mr. Dorvan, basically the same dwarf who looks after Will when he's doing his paper run, basically asking if Will plans on going to the Grand Magic Festival this year, as he's aware of it, with Will basically saying that he has no interest in doing so, not wanting to embarrass himself again, with a few other dwarves basically saying that he would be great at it, not to mention on how good he is with a blade, and also in that he would basically be standing up for the dwarfs like them after all. Even though he may not be a dwarf by blood or race, he is one by soul, given how much he cares about them. With Will appreciating the kindness that they give him, however, he basically wants him to tell him to knock it off so he can get back to work, as he's being paid by the hour. Not to mention, Gina seems to favor Rusty a lot more than Will, as it seems like dinner hour is finally coming to an end, with things starting to basically calm down, with only a few customers left, with Will alongside Rusty basically doing dishes, with Rusty asking, "I don't mind helping out as much as I can, Will, but why don't you? I know on how bad the dwarves' situation is when it comes to pay. So why still work though? Wouldn't Professor Wertner help you out with getting a better job?" But then Will saying, "Oh, knowing him, he probably would, especially even that of Headmistress Cauldron too. But the both of them have done so much for me. And I had to pull my own weight in some way or another. Not to mention how much I respect the dwarves. Even after losing the Civil War, and even almost having half their rights basically stripped away, they still stand their ground, still able to live on as people. They're hard workers, they're determined, and they always have that of a positive attitude on things. Plus, outside of some of the teachers and Colette and you, they're the only people that accept me for me. Won't lie, it was a little hard to convince them to let me work here, especially given the fact that I'm still a fire mage after all. But I've earned it. Earned it with hard work and respecting them for who they are as people, not as things from another world." With Rusty hearing that, he couldn't help but smile at that of Will's kindness and heart. With Will about to put away that of dishes, however, he ended up dropping a spoon. But at the same time of picking it up, that's when a certain blue-haired asshole and his clique came into that of the tavern. With then, soon, Julius noticed that of Will, saying, "Wait, you can't be serious. Flame dunce? You're even here? You work here?" With then, Will narrowing his eyes saying, "Julius. I mean, it only makes sense. A barbaric fire mage being with that of barbarians themselves." Dorman basically hearing that saying, "What'd you say?" With then, one of his friends saying, "Dorman, don't. It's not worth it." With then, soon Julius noticing that of the elderly dwarf, saying, "I don't like that look in your eyes. It irritates me. You don't have the right to even look at me like that. We're the ones that allowed you to come to our world after all. You should be grateful." With Dorman basically calming down, but still absolutely pissed. With Julian and his friends basically going to that of a booth and demanding food and drinks. With then, Will couldn't help but get annoyed at all of this. Julius is condescending bullshit, and his so-called lackeys basically treating like they own this place. With Rusty giving out that of the main dish meal being Darius beans. However, Julius and his lackeys began to ridicule it, and even began to basically insult and discriminate over the doors. With Will completely and utterly pissed, with even that of Julius's one comment saying that they should be kicked out of their country, with Will heading to their table, walking past Rusty, with Rusty saying, "Will, are you?" But then, as they continue laughing, however, as soon as they notice that of Will, with one of his lackeys saying, "Can we help you, talentless?" With Will, and that of a serious tone, saying, "Take it back." Within, hearing that, Julius saying, "Oh," it's saying, "Take it all back." As Will basically explains that the dish that they made, those beans basically planted by that of dwarven hard work. It shouldn't be mocked, that it should be respected and honored. With Julius saying, "What you call respect and honor, I don't see a damn thing of it. If I call it slop, it's slop. If I says it stinks, it stinks. Nothing simple more than that." As he soon kicks out of the bean dish towards Will, as it soon stains that of his waiter uniform, with that of his two lackeys laughing, with both of them saying, "You should get out of here while you can, talentless." Yeah, we're feeling generous, and without warning, Will basically grabs both of them by their heads and slams them into the ground, flipping the table alongside that of their, mugs as well, as the drinks basically splash all over Julius. With that, Will couldn't help but have that a fire through that of his glasses, as saying, "Just be lucky I didn't burn you idiots. You don't deserve it." The fire in his glasses still raging on. With then, soon, Julius, soaked and pissed, saying, "I haven't been this offended in a long time." Within, Will's flames begin to coat around his waiter uniform, saying, "Funny, maybe you need it, bastard." Within, ice spikes begin to emerge from that of the, spilled ale from the mugs, as it's soon about to stab in that of Will. However, Will stands his ground with the flames basically burning away at the ice spikes. With it, however, that's when more ice spikes begin to emerge from that of the knocked over table where Will and Julius stands from, before it begins to coat around the entirety of the tavern, with multiple ice spikes heading straight for that of Will, with Will basically, flame steps each and every one of them, sliding away from them pretty easily, before then jumping on a table as another ice spike was coming for him, as he soon sends that of a powerful fireball towards that of the ice spikes, before then more and more ice spikes head for Will as they're getting bigger and bigger, with Will engulfing that of flames across his hands and legs, punching and kicking them pretty easily, before then sending a powerful fireball towards that of Julius, with Julius basically blocking it with that of his with an ice spiked pillar, as Will destroys it, but Julius is not even phased. Julius using that of his wand saying, "Pinned." With then multiple ice spikes begin to basically pin that of Will towards his arms, as pinning him to that of the wall. However, Will's not even is basically standing still, with Julius placing his wand into that of Will's chest. Before then, he basically creates an ice flower, before basically putting more and more pressure of his wand into the ice flower, trying to pierce right through that of Will's skin with it. Mr. Dorvan trying to step in, even Rusty preparing that of his wand. However, Will saying, "Are you done yet?" Within, Julie saying, "Huh?" Before then, flames begin to engulf Will entirely, even spreading across the entirety of the tavern as well, burning away his restraints and even the ice flower that was in his chest, causing Julius to step back with his eyes and glasses still on. However, if you look closely at his eyes, you could see markings that almost look like a spell grafted circle, as his flames reflect off his glasses, showing his determination and will. Within, Julius not liking that, before then smirking, saying, "You know what? I changed my mind. Freezing you to this dump isn't enough, seeing on how much you're basically willing to piss me off." Before then, pointing his wand at that of Will, saying, "Enter in that of the Grand Magic Festival. There, I'm going to humiliate you in front of everybody and finally put you in your damn place." With then, soon, Dorman saying, "Wait, hold on." With then saying, "It's all right, Mr. Dorman. At first, I had no interest, but now I'm actually motivated for once." As then saying, "You're on, Julius." As then grabbing that his wand, before engulfing his hand in flames, but not burning the wand, but instead, as the flames are basically a symbol of his resolve and agreement to this bet. With Julius noticing this, saying, "When I win, I'm going to basically convince the entirety of the faculty to expel you on the spot." With Will saying, "And when I win, you're going to apologize to Miss Gina, Mr. Dorvan, and all the other dwarves here as well." While basically making this bet, Will was entirely thinking, "I originally didn't want to stand out. I originally just wanted to just seem like me and earn my spot through credits. But now, maybe everybody is right. Time to stop hiding in the shadows. Show them the monster that I think they believe I am." The unique spell circles in his eyes still blazing with fires through his glasses. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's read them. So, what did you guys think? Honestly, Will is doing a lot more better in this wave than he would have in main canon while being Clive's reincarnation after all, as he's always had always going to be able to graduate. However, the credits to basically move up to that of the college year, on the other hand, is still a whole other story. Not to mention everybody telling him to no longer continue hiding his powers as Ifrit after all, and finally show off. As now, he has a reason to basically defend those that he cares about, even if he is seen as a monster or as a liar or manipulator for showing off his true abilities. And the next part is going to be exactly that. So, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, get a date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys. Hope you all
Hi, everyone.
take care.
This is White Fox.
You know what to do, my Shiro.
If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!